Kelly Marriott, and I'm a spiritual director affiliated with the Ignatius House Jesuit Retreat Center. As I was praying with this week's scripture, I was reminded of how often my directees bring the topic of prayer to our direction sessions. It usually goes something like this. Does God even hear my prayers? What should I say when I pray? Prayer is boring. I can't find time to pray. Sound familiar? Prayer, at its essence, can be defined as simply talking to God. Yet so many of us struggle with this. I know sometimes I do. Even Henry Nouwen once said, I want to pray, but I also don't want to miss out on anything. Television, movies, socializing with friends, drinking in the world. And we know that Jesus' own disciples humbly admitted in Luke 11:1 that they needed help with prayer. So if you're struggling with prayer, take heart, because you're in good company. Now, Jesus knew we would struggle with this, so in his Sermon on the Mount, he graciously and mercifully gave us a framework, kind of like a little guide for praying. In the passage from Matthew, I was really struck by just how relevant Jesus' words are for us today. You see, he cautions us against praying as a way to gain attention from others. He advises us to go to our inner rooms, that sanctuary in our heart, and close the door and pray in secret. And what he's saying here is that prayer is a private, intimate moment just between you and God, and it's not meant for public display. Now, this goes against our natural desire to seek approval from others. You see, we live in a society that thrives on oversharing. We're constantly posting details of our lives on social media. We tell people what we ate, where we went, what we were wearing, what we did on vacation, what tricks our dogs know. And when we post these details, we're instantly rewarded with likes and followers. We get social affirmation. But when it comes to prayer, Jesus tells us to pray in secret, and that our Father will hear us and he'll repay us. So you won't get likes from random strangers or accolades from friends, but you will get to savor some intimate time with our Creator. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that's 1,000,000 times better than likes and followers on social media. In this passage, Jesus also gives us some advice about what language we should use. There's no need to get out the thesaurus and use big, churchy, holy words, because this doesn't impress God. Prayer isn't about proving anything. God already knows what we want, even before the words leave our lips. He just wants to hear it from us. So if you aren't feeling God, or you doubt that prayer does any good, say that. Tell God exactly how you feel, and then ask for his help. I think that's a really beautiful prayer in itself, if it's offered sincerely and directly to God. Now, there's another ingredient to prayer that's not mentioned in this passage, but we know it's important, and that's silence and solitude. And we know that these are important to prayer because we read in the Gospels that Jesus often withdrew to a lonely place or to a mountaintop as a way to foster his intimacy with the Father. But how do we foster this same sort of intimacy with our Father if we don't have time to take off for a mountaintop, or we can't even find enough silence in our very busy lives so that we can retreat into that inner room? T.S. Eliot's poem, Ash Wednesday, comes to mind here. There's a passage in there that says, "Where shall the word be found? Where will the word resound? Not here, there is not enough silence." And isn't that true for all of us sometimes? There just isn't enough silence. Catherine DeHuick Doherty always offers such beautiful insight into silence, and when I first read the contemporary passage, I really connected with it. She says that silence isn't necessarily the lack of noise, which made me feel immensely relieved. And she says that true silence is always found in the act of listening. Let me say that again. Silence isn't a lack of speech or noise. It's just listening to God. Now, this should really offer all of us some hope for finding silence in the noisiness of our lives. You see, we just need to stand still and listen. It's that easy. Are the voices swirling all around us maybe echoes of God? Might we find an invitation from God in the crying of a baby, or the demands of a boss, or the pinging of our cell phone? If we can listen and we can hear the presence of God in the noise, and if we can repeat those deeply intimate words of God that He leaves within us, then we can find true silence and enter into the room and shut the door and pray.